Welcome. Today, we, in this session, while revisiting to consolidate, may focus upon as to the extent there will be enrichment of the intelligence field of the individuals being through this course. This course aims to enrich the intelligence field. This course being parallel with Vedic systems as are lively mathematical processes of Ganita Sutras shall be making values of the intelligence field being parallel with the natural order of intelligence growth. For it, let us pose to ourselves as to how a pair of groups with distinct operations, distinct identities will be permitting their unification. This process of unification of a pair of distinct groups with their distinct operations in respect of their elements are making a set of dual operations being designated as fields. Field is a setup of a pair of distinct operations. These distinct operations are making this set as groups under those operations. However, the interrelationship of these pair of identities of given pair of groups is the point of attention, an element of this set. Such unified attraction for both the operations. Popularly, addition and multiplication may be taken as two distinct operations. Addition and multiplication both make real groups. The real numbers with addition and multiplication as operations will make a real field. However, here in the process, the point which deserves to be comprehended well and to be fully imbibed is that multiplication is being taken here as repeated addition. So, though initially multiplication and addition are being taken as an absolutely two distinct operations, but in the process of unification, the multiplication stands reduced just as repeated addition. Therefore, this unification of this pair of operations upon the same set of elements brings to focus as to how the repeated application of the given as first operation transforms itself as the second distinct generic operation. This process, when is viewed from the angle of transition and transformation for a zero into one, is all blissful as field states created, and it is all point of concern as that with this, the second operation emerges to be just not fully distinct operation at all. It is this reason that the present day mathematics has placed itself in such a position that despite classification of 18 series of infinite series of finite groups and 26 body groups, but still the whole mathematics appears having gone out of the hand. Vedic mathematics has faced and absorbed this situation very well. Therefore, while we shall be through the sequential progression of Ganita Sutra 1, we shall be acquiring enrichment process for our intelligence, which will help us transit from this conditioning process in the form of attainment of real fields. The Vedic mathematics deserves to be taught in a most gentle way. The delicate minds, the innocent minds, the young minds are to be formatted in a most gentle manner. This exercise, this assignment as such, at the initial phase and stage itself, be taken as that we are exposing young minds to the structured points, and these structured points unfold from within. Essentially, we begin with a point, we take it as structured point, we take it that it is structured as of the range, say from value 0 to value 1. At next step, we say it is from value 1 to value 2, and value 3 to 4, and so on. We reach up till value 9 to 10. The initial phase and stage of a point as structured point of the range value 0 to 1 is taken as of geometric format of a point to line. So essentially, the initiation is as to how we can transit from a point, 0 value, to a line, a linear unit. How to structure linear unit from the 0 value constituents becomes the assignment, becomes the exercise. So we have to be very gentle in our steps. We have not to jump, because transition from line to surface a step ahead from surface to solid, from solid to hypersolids, are going to be parallel processes, but of sequential steps. The foundational step is to have a proper comprehension as to how the line, a linear unit, a field of real numbers is to be structured with addition and multiplication operations, with 0 as addition identity and 1 as a multiplicative identity. 0 and 1 are distinct. Infinitely many zeros remain 0. Infinitely many zeros do not make a 1. But here in the process, we are going to believe, going to accept, going to have a mathematical attainment as if 0 is an entity, so is single entity, so the cardinality 1, and 1 as well is an entity, is a single entity, and is of cardinality 1. It is this shift, it is this transition, it is this transformation which is a very, very delicate step. We have to be very slow to reach at this, and it is only by being parallel with it we may be in a position to have appreciation of our efforts of the last 2 to 3, at least 1 century to have a classification of groups. It is a very, very big assignment. It is a really breakthrough. However, this breakthrough, as it is, deserves to be revisited, to reconsolidate. It is from this point of view that today we are posing to ourselves as to how our intelligence field will be rich enough to be parallel with this attainment, and how we will be in a position to have dissolution of the limitations which stand created in the process, and how is it that linear axis or making a mathematics which is not transiting of its own to a spatial dimension mathematics of 4 space and ahead solid dimensional space, transcendental domain, mathematics, science and technology, how to have dissolution of the limitations which stand caused and which cement the real field, which requires different approach for appreciation of the axioms responsible for having limitation of this domain, and need is to transit therefrom. How to have a transition therefrom is the poser which is being posed at this initial stage itself, so that ultimately when we will be through this course, we shall be confident that our mental state, our mathematical mind is of such potentialities that it will of its own dissolve all the limitations coming in the process, and there will be a smooth transition for the spatial order and higher dimensional mathematical domains. the existence phenomena of the natural order. Therefore, the focus as a starting focus shall be how to pair distinct groups. Let the two distinct groups be group 1 with addition operation and identity 0, and the second group be of multiplication operation with identity 1. We are to unify, we have to avail both. We will be having availability of both these operations, and we will be having unified operations. We will be having a real field, real numbers field. Then this relationship of addition and multiplication, making multiplications as repeated addition, is the attainment, but at the same time, it is the limitation created in the process. Multiplication as a repeated addition is putting us tagged with the base. However, multiplication as powers, as addition at the index, takes us to the index from the base. To dissolve the limitations which stand created in the process of taking multiplication as repeated addition at base, will be that we shall take this repeated addition at the index. Let us sit comfortably. Let us permit the transcending mind to revisit a line as a track of a moving point, and point as a field of full line as a track of a moving point, and point as a field of a full line. Let us revisit it. Let us be through these 6 to 7 figures on the computer screen. The first figure just indicates as if a point in a moving state, and as it moves, as the movement progresses, it is tracking, it is making, it is formatting a line. The line as a format becomes the track of a moving line. And if we see that points as discrete entities will always have a gap in between. The gaps in between are inherently there by the very structure of the points. Therefore, we have to focus upon the movements of moving point as jumps, as a chase which always creates gaps in between. Now, these gaps, as these are no more there when we are at the track format which stands created by a moving point. It becomes a line. The components of the track of the line are having length, while the points themselves are devoid of length. So the points of a line are having length, however small it may be, but the points as such are devoid of length. Therefore, we have to focus upon the inner field of the point, which makes a full line. The full line structures within the point, and the point itself devoid of length, and thereby there being two distinct generic points, is the comprehension which is to be imbibed. Therefore, handling 10 points as setup of 9 gaps. So the points together with gaps as such are making a continuity of the domain for us. The mathematics which is to follow is to be the mathematics of the discrete points together with the gaps in between. This will be a transition from linear progression working rule of Ganita Sutra 1 to the processing mathematics of Ganita Sutra 2, which accepts the place value system. Numerals as discrete points and placement format as continuity process manifestation as a format of a moving point, line as a track of a moving point, brings full line field within the point and makes the point as a structured point. Point initially being devoid of length, in the process gets fulfilled with the structures of a full line. It is this feature which is well preserved when we revisit the word formulation point, availing 26 English letters alphabet and associate the values to P, O, I, and T as 74, and also to 1, O, N, E, and line, L-I-N-E, it also becomes 74. So point as one line is the comprehension. It is the comprehension of a structured point. It is the comprehension of full line field within a point, and line itself as a track of a moving point with points devoid of length. One shall sit comfortably and to permit the mind to have this comprehension. Now, sequentially, let us revisit as to how pairing of such distinct groups or a group with a pair of distinct operations, then it will take us to as if the progression ekadiken purve is taking us from value 0 to value 1. Value 0 as 0 order, as 0 dimension, will be creating hypercube 2, and value 1 as a linear order will be creating hypercube 3. So while we will be unifying pair of distinct operations like addition and multiplication, then in fact we will be handling square and a cube both as being having manifestation of the same mathematical steps. How square and cube are reached simultaneously with the same processing steps. How the manifestation of square and a cube is of parallel steps. These parallel steps, when are sequentially chased, it will bring us face to face with the square as a synthetic setup of quadruple quarter squares, and 3 space in the role of origin of 2 space will bring in the 5th component. This setup of 2 space as of 5 geometries range, square as of 5 versions, hypercube 2 as of 5 versions, and these 5 versions of 2 space with 5 solid origins will take us to 3 space as dimension. So it will take us to a dimensional frame of 5 solid dimensions. So this unifying process of the pair of operations will sequentially is going to be of the reach as that the linear order as a linear dimensional frame of 3 dimensions, when transit and transform into a spatial dimensional frame of 3 dimensions, then both these linear axis dimensional frame of 3 axes and spatial dimensional frame of 3 axes, when are approached for the synthetic structural setup of a cube, then it will bring us face to face with as to how the spatial boundary of cube being of 6 components, the 3-dimensional frame of 3 linear axes is yielding 6 components, and likewise spatial dimensional frame of 3 dimensions to be of 6 components. So 6 boundary components. The feature deserves to be comprehended well as inherently inbuilt with this unification. So one shall sit comfortably and to have a revisit, and let us consolidate as to the mundane manifestation of 4 folds when is visited in respect of the manifestation of the transcendental content, 5 space content, then it shall be manifesting as hypercube of 5, a setup of 4 folds, of which first fold, the dimension fold, is a solid dimension. So the first operation with respect to the identity of addition operation, that is of 0 on the one hand, and linear order, unit value 1 as the identity for the multiplication. When both are being through their 3 distinctive phases, as a single axis, as a double axis, and as a triple axis, the same shall be having complete unification at its 3rd phase, when the synthesis value of triple dimensions, may it be of 0 order or may it be of linear order, both are of equal value 6. Therefore, these 3 phases will be the phases which will be leading to 3 distinct infinite series. So 3 distinct classes of groups. Step ahead, the creative boundary of 5 space as of 4-fold manifestations, 0, 1, 2, 3 in respect of 0 order, and 1, 2, 3, 4 in respect of the 2nd order, brings in a phenomenon where the synthesis value of single, double, triple, and quadruple together always lead to same value 20. So this way, another 4 phases, another set of 4 infinite series of distinct groups emerge. One shall sit comfortably and to permit the transcending mind to visit the domain fold, and this domain fold is of setup of 5 dimensions. Within creators the space of spatial order, the manifestation of solid order, space of 5 dimensions, is parallel with the 5 geometries of 2 space, are transiting and transforming into a dimensional frame of 5 solid dimensions. Step ahead, the 6 space has origin at its dimension of dimension phase and stage, with 2 space as dimension of dimension, will bring us face to face with as to how the linear axis dimensional frame and spatial axis dimensional frame, both being of 6 components, having complete coordination for the 6 components of the spatial boundary. As such, in the process, we are having 18 distinct infinite series, and these quadruple grouping of 3, 4, 5, and 6 set of series manifest within creators of space as hypercube of 5, and the same in the role of a transcendental boundary will be structuring the outside space as hypercube 7 of folds 5, 6, 7, 8 of summation value 26. These 18 phases and these 26 structural components together lay the foundation for the classification of these sets with a pair of operations getting unified because of the spatial order of the creators of space. This phenomenon of the creators of space, because of its spatial order, deserve to be comprehended well. We, while being through this course, we will be enriching our intelligence field by having proper exposure to sequential transition from the points structured as of the range of 0 to 1, then as 1 to 2, then as 2 to 3, and so on. It is this enrichment which is awaiting for us. Sadkhas, approach this system with conviction, faith with conviction, and the whole bliss of the natural order is awaiting for us. Thank you very much.